So we have seen cardiac glycosides mechanism. Now in this part of the video we will see sympathomimetic drugs and PDE3 inhibitors for CHF management. We will also see the mechanism how vasodilators play an important role for CHF management. We have already seen cardiac glycosides mechanism. In this part of the video, we will see about sympathomimetics and phosphodiesterase 3 inhibitors, how they provide benefits in CHF management and how vasodilators provide benefits in CHF. The first part of sympathomimetics is agonist, especially beta 1 selective agonist. So dobutamine is beta 1 selective adrenergic agonist. Now it shows only inotropic effect. What we mean by inotropic? It increases force of contraction of heart, not the number of heartbeat, that is rate of heart. That is called chronotropic. The drugs which increases heart rate, that is called chronotropic. But dobutamine shows only inotropic by binding to the beta 1 receptors. How does it show its effect? Let's see intracellular mechanism. So whenever the drug dobutamine, which is agonist of norepinephrine, whenever it binds to beta 1 receptor, beta 1 receptor is GPCR type of receptor, G protein coupled receptor. So whenever dobutamine is binding, this G protein is getting activated, which activates adenylate cyclase enzyme. This adenylate cyclase enzyme converts ATP into CAMP. So basically, dobutamine or norepinephrine is increasing CAMP levels in the cardiac cells. Now inside the cardiac cells, CAMP activates protein kinase enzyme, which further increases release of intracellular calcium from sarcoplasmic reticulum. Now, the more calcium is released, it activates more contractile protein of cardiac cells, that is troponin. So, troponin is activated, which further increases actin-myosin interaction, and that's why there is more contraction in the cardiac cells. So here the key important thing in this whole series we need to remember is beta 1 agonist is increasing CAMP levels in the cell, which is increasing cardiac contraction. As I have mentioned that norepinephrine, they bind to beta 2 receptors which are present on smooth muscle cells of blood vessels. And binding to beta 2 receptor, it causes actually vasodilation. In cardiac myocytes, by binding to beta 1 receptor, it is causing contraction, cardiac contraction. But in smooth muscle cells of blood vessel, it causes vasodilation. So how is this happening? Let's see the mechanism. In general, in smooth muscle cells of blood vessel, what is happening whenever calcium is entering inside the smooth muscle cell? It combines with the calmodulin contractile protein. Calmodulin is the contractile protein. Like troponin is present in cardiac myocytes, calmodulin is present in smooth muscle cells. So this calcium calmodulin complex is actually activating MLCK, which is myosin light chain kinase enzyme. When this enzyme is getting activated, it causes phosphorylation of myosin light chain. As the name suggests, kinase enzyme, it is causing phosphorylation of this myosin light chain, and whenever there is phosphorylated MLC, that is myosin light chain, it is helping in contraction of the smooth muscle cell. So this is how after entry of the calcium, it is causing activation of MLCK enzyme, and it is causing contraction of smooth muscle cell through phosphorylation of MHC. Now let's see how norepinephrine is causing vasodilation in this smooth muscle cell. So norepinephrine binds to the beta 2 receptor which is present on smooth muscle cell surface. Now beta 2 receptor is actually GPCR, G protein coupled receptor. It activates GS type of G protein, and whenever this GS type of G protein is activated, it increases CAMP level inside the cells. Now, when CAMP level is increased inside the smooth muscle cell, it is inhibiting this kinase, myosin light chain kinase enzyme. When this kinase enzyme is inhibited, there is no phosphorylation, and that's why there won't be any contraction. So what is happening? There is relaxation. So this is how norepinephrine, by binding to beta 2 receptor, it increases CAMP level inside the smooth muscle cells, and it is inhibiting MLCK enzyme, and it is causing relaxation. So here the key important point is increased CAMP level in smooth muscle cell is causing relaxation, unlike cardiac myocyte. In cardiac myocyte, increased CAMP was increasing activating protein kinase enzyme, and that's how it was increasing cardiac contraction. But inside the smooth muscle cell, it is actually causing relaxation, and that's why vasodilation is happening. Let's see how vasodilation helps in CHF management. So vasodilation reduces preload and afterload of the heart. In CHF, we know heart is not able to pump the blood properly, or it is not able to function properly, and that's why we need to further reduce the workload of heart. How? By reducing preload and afterload. Let's see one by one what is preload and afterload. So preload is the amount of sarcomere stretch experienced by the cardiac cells. The cardiac cells which is present in the ventricular wall of the heart, they are experiencing some stretch. Why? Because of the fill, because of the filling of the blood in during diastole. So when the blood is filling inside the ventricle, it is exerting some pressure on the wall, right? Because of this pressure, it is experiencing cardiac myocytes are experiencing some stretch. Now we can reduce this stretch, experience of stretch or preload. How? By vasodilation. When the diameter of vein will be increased, bigger, what will happen? Less amount of blood with less pressure will be filled inside the ventricle. and that's how the stretch experienced by these cardiac myocytes will be lesser. So less low preload. So that's how vasodilation is reducing preload on heart. What is afterload? So afterload is the pressure that the heart must work against to eject the blood during systole. Now, heart must apply some pressure to force this blood inside the artery, right? And that pressure is known as afterload. Now you just imagine there are two pipes. One pipe is with smaller diameter and the second pipe is with bigger diameter. Definitely in the small diameter pipe, I have to apply more pressure to pass the fluid through, right? Whereas in bigger diameter pipe, I don't need to apply more pressure. Easily the fluid can enter inside that pipe. Similarly here, when the vasodilation is happening, the diameter of blood vessel is increasing. What is happening? The heart does not have to apply too much pressure to pump the blood inside the artery, and that is called reduced afterload. So that's how vasodilation is helping in reduction of preload and afterload, and overall the workload of heart is reduced in CHF. So we have seen cardiac myocytes by blocking sodium potassium pump. It increases intracellular calcium in the cardiac cells, and that's how increased contraction of heart cells. We have also seen sympathomimetics, which are actually increasing, acting on beta 1 receptors of cardiac cells and beta 2 receptors of smooth muscle cells. On cardiac cells, it is increasing cardiac contraction by increasing CAMP levels, whereas on smooth muscle cells of blood vessels, it is acting on beta 2 receptor, through which it is increasing CMP, intracellular CMP levels in the smooth muscle cell, which is inhibiting MLCK and increasing vasodilation or relaxation of smooth muscle cells. So because of vasodilation, like other vasodilators also causing vasodilation, vasodilation is reducing preload and afterload on the heart. The last part remaining in this topic is PDE3 inhibitors, that is phosphodiesterase 3 inhibitors. So there are two drugs in this class, amrinone and milrinone. We have seen the role of CAMP in smooth muscle cells and cardiac myocytes, how it is helping in CHF. So we know that CAMP levels, increased CAMP levels in smooth muscle cells as well as in cardiac myocytes are important for CHF, right? Beneficial for CHF. In smooth muscle cells, high CMP levels is causing relaxation of smooth muscle cell, that is vasodilation, so preload afterload will be reduced. In cardiac myocytes, high CMP level is activating protein kinase enzyme, and that's why more contraction will be there, cardiac contraction. So force of contraction will be increased of heart cell. So CMP is good in both the cells. So we need to preserve the CMP, right? But what this phosphodiesterase enzyme is doing, it is breaking down the cyclic structure of CMP, cyclic adenosine monophosphate. So since if the cyclic structure is broken down, it will not be able to give these beneficial effects in CHF, right? And that's why we need to inhibit this phosphodiesterase 3 enzyme, which is actually breaking down CAMP. So by blocking this enzyme, by giving this amrinone or milrinone drugs, they will block this phosphodiesterase 3 enzyme, which is breaking CAMP. If this enzyme is blocked, CAMP is preserved and it can show smooth muscle vasodilation and cardiac contraction as it was showing naturally, endogenously. So we have seen all the treatment options for CHF. Now let's see when to give these treatment options, at what stages. The in stage 1, the patients are with high risk factors without any symptoms. The patients are having risk factors like comorbid conditions, hypertension or diabetes, which will increase the chance of getting congestive heart failure in future. At this stage, we need to manage these comorbid conditions instead of giving any treatment for CHF. In stage 2, there are structural changes in the heart, like thickening of the wall or thinning of the heart wall, but there won't be any symptom like congestion. So at this stage, ACE inhibitors or AT1 blocker, which are actually vasodilators, they are given to reduce preload and afterload on the heart. In stage 3, along with the structural changes, there will be some symptoms. So at this stage, ACE inhibitors, diuretics and other vasodilators like sympathomimetics can be given. In stage 4, there is refractory symptoms. What we mean by refractory? Frequently the congestion and all is seen. At this stage, generally inotropes like cardiac glycosides are given. If that also doesn't work, then heart transplantation has to be done. So that was all about congestive heart failure. Thank you.